Hello everyone, I am Saurabh and I welcome you back to the Digital Board series by Orchids Biosciences. This is the last part of the chapter, Control and Coordination. If you haven't watched the previous videos yet, I have provided its link in the description below, so please do look for it. In the previous videos, we have discussed about the plant hormones, and in this video, we will be discussing about the hormones in animals. The hormones are produced by certain glands, and the glands that we will be studying in this video are hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, adrenal glands, pancreas, and gonads. So these are the glands that we will be discussing in this video and the hormones which are produced by it, followed by their functions. In the previous video, we have discussed the important plant hormones like auxins, gibberellin, cytokinin, ethylene, and abscisic acid. Now, let us discuss about the animal hormones. The hormones are secreted in our body by certain glands. We came across various glands even in the previous chapter when we were discussing about the process of digestion. We have studied about the salivary glands, which produce the saliva. We know that the saliva is essential for the digestion of starch in our food. These salivary glands secrete the saliva into ducts, and these ducts will carry the saliva to our mouth. So these ducts are nothing but the tubes which carry the saliva from the salivary gland to our mouth. So these glands which have ducts and they secrete their secretions into the ducts are called as exocrine glands. There are other type of glands as well. So the glands which do not have any ducts or they are ductless, these glands are called as endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are those glands which are ductless or they do not have any duct. They secrete the substances directly into the bloodstream. So the exocrine glands have ducts through which their secretions are transported, whereas endocrine glands are ductless. So their secretions that are hormones. These hormones are directly transported through the blood to various parts of the body. So these are about the two glands in our body, exocrine gland which are having ducts or tube to transport their secretions, and endocrine glands which are ductless. So now we can define what are hormones. We can define hormones as the chemicals which are produced by the endocrine glands or the ductless glands in our body, which are required for the regulation of various biological processes. Now let us discuss various endocrine glands along with their important hormones and their specific functions. Now let us first study about the three important glands in our brain, and they are hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the pineal gland. So these are the three important glands that we will be studying in the brain. First one is hypothalamus. This hypothalamus is below the thalamus. About the various parts of the brain, I have already discussed in the second video for the chapter. If you haven't watched the video yet, please do watch it so that you get an idea about the various parts of the brain. Then it will be easier for you to understand the location of these glands as well. So hypothalamus is present just below the thalamus, and this hypothalamus acts as a linking structure between the nervous system and the endocrine system. So this is the main linking structure which links the nervous and the endocrine system. This produces a lot of hormones, and one of its important or major function is to maintain the homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintaining the internal stability of the body. We came across this term homeostasis even in the previous videos of the chapter. So the main function or the one of the major functions of hypothalamus is to maintain an internal stability of the body. Coming to the next, pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is present in the base of the brain just behind the nose. So this is the pituitary gland. So we have seen where it is located, in the base of the brain and just behind the nose. The hormone which is produced by the pituitary gland is the growth hormone. So growth hormone is one of the hormone which is produced by the pituitary gland. This growth hormone regulates the growth and development of our body. If the growth hormone is deficient, which means it is less, then also it can create a problem. And if growth hormone is too much in our body also, it can create a problem. If the growth hormone is less in our body during our childhood, this will lead to dwarfism. Whereas gigantism is caused due to its overproduction. So even if it's less, it is problematic, and even if its production is more, it can create problems in our body. So the growth hormone has to be produced in proper amounts. Moving on to the next gland in our brain, that is pineal gland. The pineal gland is present somewhere over here. So this is the location of pineal gland. This is a very tiny endocrine gland which is present deep in the center of the brain between the two cerebral hemispheres. It produces and secretes the hormone melatonin. This hormone regulates the biological rhythms such as the sleep and wake up cycles. So we have seen the three important glands in our brain and their hormones as well as functions. Hypothalamus, whose function is homeostasis, pituitary gland, which produces the growth hormone, and pineal gland, which produces the melatonin. Moving on to the next gland of our body, that is thyroid gland. This thyroid gland is present in our neck just below our Adam's apple. This thyroid gland produces a hormone, that is thyroxine. And this thyroxine is a very important hormone because it is responsible for the metabolism. For the production of thyroxine, iodine is very essential. When your thyroid doesn't work properly, it can impact your entire body. If your body makes too much of thyroid hormone, that is thyroxine, the thyroxine hormone levels will go up in your body. So if the thyroxine levels go up, it will lead to a condition called as hyperthyroidism. This can impact our body because this can lead to weight loss and irregular heartbeats. Now, what if the levels of thyroxine go low in our body? The lower levels of thyroxine is a condition which is called as hypothyroidism. And hypothyroidism can cause the thyroid gland to enlarge. And this enlargement can go to such an extent that it can have bulge in our neck. And this is called as goiter. So we have seen how due to overproduction of thyroxine also the body can be impacted, and the lesser production of thyroxine leads to a condition called as hypothyroidism, which results in goiter, in which our thyroid glands will enlarge. Moving on to the next gland, this gland is present behind, or it is located in the back of our thyroid gland, and this gland is parathyroid gland. So this parathyroid glands are located in the neck just behind the thyroid gland. In the image, we can see both parathyroid gland as well as the thyroid gland. The purpose of this parathyroid gland is to regulate the calcium levels in our body. So thyroid gland is responsible for metabolism, and the parathyroid gland is responsible for maintaining the calcium levels in our body. Moving on to the next gland, that is thymus. The thymus gland is located in front of our chest and in between our lungs. Thymus produces a hormone, thymosin. Thymosin is a hormone of thymus, and it stimulates the development of T cells. These T cells play a very important or crucial role in the immune response. So for the immunity or for the immune response, the development of the T cells are stimulated by the hormone thymosin. Moving on to the next gland, adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are located on the top of your each kidney. These adrenal glands secrete the hormone adrenaline. Adrenaline is secreted directly into the blood because it is an endocrine gland. Then through the blood, this adrenaline goes to the different parts of the body, and the target organ which it acts on is heart. So heart is the major target organ of this hormone adrenaline. We might have noticed that when we are scared or we are in some stressful condition, our heartbeat increases suddenly. It is because of this hormone adrenaline. Adrenaline is also called as an emergency hormone because it initiates very quick reactions so that the individual can think and respond to the stressful or the dangerous condition very quickly. Due to the adrenaline production, what happens is the heartbeat will increase, and if the heartbeat increases, the oxygen supply to our muscle cells will also increase. So the adrenaline is responsible for increasing the heartbeat, and if heartbeat increases, more amount of oxygen is supplied to our muscle cells. And then what happens is the blood which is going to the digestive system, skin and other parts will be reduced, whereas the blood will be diverted to our skeletal muscles, and the breathing rate will also increase. So all these responses together will enable the animal body to be ready to deal with any dangerous situation. So that if we encounter something very dangerous, our heartbeat suddenly increases, and then we need more energy to quickly run or escape from that situation. So in this case, this adrenaline hormone will help us. After adrenaline, let us look into another hormone produced by the pancreas. The pancreas in our body produces a hormone called as insulin. And this insulin hormone is responsible for regulating the blood sugar levels in our body. So how does this insulin ensure the regulation of the blood sugar level in our body? The secretion or the production of this insulin will cause a reduction in the blood sugar level. It is important that all these hormones are secreted in precise amounts, because if it is not secreted in precise amounts, it can be harmful for our body. We've already seen how it can be harmful. For example, the overproduction or lesser production of growth hormone can create gigantism or dwarfism. Then we saw how thyroid hormones overproduction and lesser production can also create an imbalance in the body. So similarly, all the hormones should be produced in precise amounts. Its overproduction is also harmful for the body, and its lower production is also harmful for the body. So there's a feedback mechanism in our body so that it can regulate the secretions of the hormones. For example, let us take the case of insulin. We know that insulin is responsible for lowering the blood sugar level. If the blood sugar level in our body increases, so if the body increases the insulin production, what will happen is this will again decrease the blood sugar level to normal range. Now, if the blood sugar level decreases in our body, we know that insulin is responsible for decreasing the blood sugar level. So if the insulin production is reduced, then again the blood sugar level will come back to the normal range. So there is a mechanism through which the insulin production can be increased or decreased based on the amount of blood sugar level in the body. If the blood sugar level is high, the insulin production will increase, due to which the blood sugar level will go low. If the blood sugar level is low, the insulin production also will go low, due to which again the blood sugar will come to normal condition. So this insulin is controlling the level of the blood sugar in our body so that the levels are maintained in our body. The last one which we will study in this chapter are sex hormones. These sex hormones are produced by gonads, and gonads are different in case of males and females. In males, they are testes, whereas in female, they are ovaries. The testes are responsible for production of the hormone testosterone, whereas estrogen is produced by the ovaries. These hormones, testosterone and estrogen, are responsible for the various dramatic changes that occur in our body during puberty. So all the changes which are visible in our body during our puberty are due to these hormones, testosterone and estrogen, which are produced by testes and ovaries respectively. We will learn about the puberty, changes in puberty, these hormones in detail in the next chapter, that is, how do organisms reproduce. So these are the major glands, their hormones and its function in our body. Out of the hormones and glands that we have studied, we have to clearly remember all the glands, that is starting from hypothalamus till the ovaries and testes. But we have to remember the functions of 6 important hormones as per the NCERT, which are growth hormones by pituitary gland, thyroxine, that is by the thyroid gland, adrenaline, which is by the adrenal glands, insulin by the pancreas, and finally testosterone and estrogen. So these are the 6 hormones: growth hormone, thyroxine, adrenaline, insulin, testosterone and estrogen. The question in the exams are majorly from these hormones only because these are mentioned in our textbook. But the glands, we have to remember all of them. Coming to the hormones, these are the 6 important ones. So if you cannot remember all the hormones and its function, you can remember these 6 hormones at least. Now let us quickly revise what we have seen in this video. We started with the first gland, hypothalamus, which is present in our brain, and we know its function now. Hypothalamus is responsible for homeostasis, and it connects the, or it is a link between the endocrine system and nervous system. Next, we studied about pituitary gland, and pituitary gland is responsible for production of growth hormone, and its over and lesser production can cause problems. That also we have discussed. And growth hormone is responsible for growth and development of the body. The next gland which we have discussed after pituitary is pineal gland, which is present deep inside our brain in between the 2 cerebral hemispheres and is responsible for biological rhythms such as sleep and wake up cycle, which is controlled by its hormone melatonin. The next gland is thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is responsible for the production of thyroxine, and this thyroxine is responsible for the metabolism of our body so that there can be proper growth and development. Its overproduction and lesser production can cause problem. That also we have discussed. So in general, we get an idea that the hormone should be produced in precise amounts. It should not be overproduced also in our body and should not be produced in lesser amount also. After thyroid gland, we discussed about parathyroid glands. The parathyroid gland is responsible for the regulation of calcium levels in our body. Then after parathyroid, we discuss about the thymus gland, which is present in front part of the chest and in between your lungs. The thymosin hormone, which is produced by the thymus, is responsible for the stimulation of development of the T cells, and T cells act or play a very important role in the immune response. The next one which we discuss is adrenal glands, and adrenal gland secretes adrenaline, and adrenaline is an emergency hormone which help us to tackle any stressful or dangerous condition. We have seen how adrenaline causes the faster heartbeat, which results into more supply of oxygen to our muscles so that we can run fast or we can escape from the dangerous condition. After that, we discussed about pancreas. Pancreas, we studied about the hormone insulin, which is responsible for maintaining the blood sugar level in our body. Then we also saw how it is controlling the blood sugar level in our body. Moving on to the last gland that we studied, they were the gonads. The gonads were different in case of males and female. In males there are testes, and females there were ovaries. Testis is responsible for production of testosterone, and ovaries are responsible for the production of estrogen. And both these hormones are responsible for the changes during our puberty. So these are the glands and their important hormones followed by their functions. Now let us quickly discuss few questions from the previous years. The first one is from 2019 for 5 marks. The question has been split up into 2 parts. The first part is related to the topics that we have discussed in this video, whereas the second part of the question is related to the first video of the chapter. So let us try to answer this question. The first part is asking us, why is the use of iodized salt advisable? So they are not directly asking us why is there a need of iodine in our body. So they are indirectly asking us this question. So we know that in iodized salt, iodine is available. So the iodized salt contains iodine. And iodine is essential for the production of the thyroxine hormone by the thyroid gland. And this thyroxine hormone is responsible for the metabolism. So that is why the use of iodized salt is advisable, because it contains iodine, which is responsible for the production of thyroxine hormone. Then they are asking us to name the disease caused due to the deficiency of iodine in our diet and state its one symptom. We have already seen about it in the video as well. You have seen that if the production of the thyroxine hormone is decreased, that is, if iodine deficiency is there, then the decrease in thyroxine levels will be there. So if this thyroxine hormone is decreased in our body, what will happen is this will create a condition which is called as hypothyroidism. And this hypothyroidism condition can lead to enlargement of thyroid gland. And if the thyroid gland is enlarged, what can we see? We can see there is a bulge in our neck. And this is called as goiter. The second part of the question, as I have mentioned, it is from the first video of the chapter. If you want a clear explanation on that, please do watch that video. They have asked us to tell how the nerve impulses travel in the body. We have studied in detail in the first video that how they travel. They travel in the form of electrical impulses. And we know that in between the two neurons, there is a gap which is called as a synapse. And in this synapse, they travel through the neurotransmitters. There we have discussed in detail how these impulses are traveling, that it is receiving the information from dendrite, cyton, axon terminals, then it passes the synapse through the neurotransmitters, then again it goes back in the form of electrical impulses. So we can explain that entire process here with the diagrams if required. So if you want still a clear explanation on the transmission of electrical impulse, what are neurotransmitters in detail, you can watch that video once. Moving on to the next question. This question is from 2018 for 3 marks. This is a very simple and direct question, and all these topics I have discussed in this video itself. We will try to answer it. They are asking us to name the hormones secreted by the following endocrine glands. They are thyroid, pituitary and pancreas, and they are asking us to specify one function of each. So first we can write thyroid produces which hormone? It produces thyroxine. Pituitary produces which hormone? Produces growth hormone. Pancreas produces which hormone? Insulin. So these are their important hormones. Now let us try to mention its function. Thyroxine is responsible for the metabolism. It is responsible for the proper growth and development of the body. Coming to the growth hormone is very, very important for the proper growth and development of body. The last one is insulin. Insulin is responsible for maintaining the blood sugar levels. So these are the glands, their hormones and their specific function. With this, we come to the end of the second chapter as well, that is control and coordination. In the next video, we will start the next chapter, how do organisms reproduce. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.